Well, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. First of all, let's say thanks to our God Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala who has given us mercies and blessings so we can gather together here without any trouble and obstacle. Secondly, may salawat and salam always be with our best prophet Muhammad Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam who has brought us from the darkness to the brightness, from Jahiliyah era to the great era right now. Thirdly, my special thanks I deliver to my lecturer, Mr. Kaharudin SIPM Home, who has given me this assignment so I can take my video about speaking as transactional discourse and performance speaking discourse. But before that, I will I will introduce myself. My name is Aulia Agusfina and I'm a student at the sixth semester English Education Department in Alauddin State Islamic University of Makassar. Today, or in this time, I will explain about speaking as transactional discourse. It is widely known that people use language to interact one another. They convey their utterance to make their listeners recognize the intention they have in mind. As regards to the fact, many research reports show that people use speaking for a variety or different purpose. The others, the others use speaking to describe things, to complain about people's behavior, to make polite requests, or to entertain people with jokes and anecdotes. This is for about Richards and Renandia opinion 2002. In other words, we can say that spoken discourse only functions as a medium to establish social relationship between the participants but also function to transact message being spoken. Furthermore, this section makes effort to describe the function of speaking discourse as a medium for transacting message in our social life, which also called transactional speaking. This is for about Kaharudin's opinion 2014. Richard 2008 claims that speaking as transaction refers to situation where the focus is on what is said or done. The message, meaning which makes one understood clearly and accurately, is the central focus. In our social lives, transactional speaking can be identified in terms of discussions, debates, job interviews, and the other. The main features of transactional speaking are: the first is it functions to exchange information. The second is it is message oriented, which means to communicate meaning. The next is participants use strategies understand each other. The next is it needs more question, repetition, checks for comprehension. The next is ideas negotiation normally occurs, and the last is language accuracy is not always important. Richard, for about 2008, 27, is of the opinion that participants in transactional speaking are in need of some skills in order to enable them involved in transactional discourse activities. The skill can be classified into the abilities of the participation. Two, the first is explain a need interaction, describe something, ask question, ask for clarification, confirm information, justify an opinion, make suggestion, clarify understanding, make comparison, and the last is agree and disagree. To illustrate how the futures work in transactional discourse, let's take a look at fragment of the real debates from the first presidential debate between Hillary Clinton and Donald Trump on September 26, 2016, which was hosted by Lester Holt. The debate text above indicates how the participants, the host, and both candidates of the debate employ speaking as a medium for exchanging information. So the analysis is described as follows. Lester Holt is initiation, The analysis, the initiation, generic structures. The first is opening, greeting, mentioning the venue, and introducing, starting intention, and the candidates, the sponsors, optional, and the allotment, topics, area, debate procedures, requests for attention, welcoming candidates, giving applause, bringing the candidates in, main issue, supporting issue, selecting the first speaker, and addressing question. While Hillary Clinton is response, the analysis, the response, generic structure opening. The first is expressing gratitude, stating the issue, supporting opinions or argument, generic generating question, clarifying the solution, giving recommendation, and later halt, follow up. As a follow up, the analysis, the follow up is expressing gratitude. Letters halt, also initiation. The analysis, the initiation is generic structures. Invitate arguments, selecting the next speakers by mentioning name, or the name is Mr. Trump, and giving statement. Donald Trump is also response, and the analysis about the generic structure is expressing gratitude and stating the issue, and also supporting points or argument. Based on the analysis of this transactional discourse, it can be concluded that transactional spoken discourse has a discourse pattern which consists of three components also found in interactional spoken discourse. Is like initiation or I, response R, as well as follow-up F. In this regard, however, follow-up seems like an optional in the transactional spoken discourse since many English native speakers tend to simplify their speech when they interact with other people. Majority 1991 state that many English speakers would feel that a lengthy ritual in communication is unnecessary. Therefore, they would omit follow-up besides the analysis of the transactional spoken discourse and covers the following things. The first is initiation. I may can be addressed by a speaker in the form of opening, introducing participants, structuring debate organization, welcoming candidates, introducing topic, as well as inviting arguments. And the initiation, as well as which is I, will elicit a response, or R, in the form of opening, overviewing topic, stating solutions, as well as giving recommendation. And the last is the response, which is R, will elicit a follow-up, which is F, in the form of expressing gratitude. In this regard, the information gathered from analyzing the transactional spoken discourse bring about some advantages for language teachers who are interested in teaching debates or discussion to improve their students' transactional speaking skills, among other things. The first is the teachers may use the discourse sequence as a pattern to compile transactional speaking teaching materials in which the utterance in the materials are sequenced by using the generic structure from each move in the transactional spoken discourse. And the next is use the utterance from the data as natural language expression which can be used to perform particular function in transactional spoken discourse such as debates or discussion. Then that's about my explanation about speaking as transactional discourse, and then I will explain about performance speaking discourse or public speaking. Performance speaking is recognized as the third scope of spoken discourse, which refers to public speaking. According to Richard 2008, performance speaking is a type of spoken discourse. This is aimed at transmitting information in front of an audience commonly delivered in the form of monologue rather than dialogue, such as classroom presentation, public announcements, lecture, as well as speeches. When a speaker is speaking before an audience, the speaker often uses formality, which is closer to written than interpersonal spoken language. Performance speaking can be illustrated as a process of communicating information to an audience by using a formal language. It's like making speeches and oral presentation. Burhanuddin and Kaharudin 2015 claimed that being effective when speaking in public means that the public speakers need to make effort to make their speeches before their audience easy to understand and to remember that the audience gets influenced by the speeches. Therefore, they need to know the first is how to select an appropriate topics for a speech, how to use communication strategy when making a public speaking, how to employ generic structure of an effective speech, and how to speak in public by using appropriate language in terms of appropriate expression and grammar for some particular function as commonly available in public speaking. As regard to the speaking types, Richard 2008 proposed some main skills of speaking that a public speaker needs to be able to involve in using speaking as performance effectively. Those are: the first is using an appropriate format, the next is presenting information in an appropriate sequence, and the next is maintaining audience engagement and using correct pronunciation and grammar and creating an effect on the audience using appropriate vocabulary, and the last is using an appropriate opening and closing. The analysis, the generic structure of the speech the first is address the audience to start, and the next is I repeat, address the audience to start. Dear parents or brethren, greeting and gratitude, greet and thank them to show friendliness. Good morning and thank you for choosing Saint David's for your child. And we welcome you to the large school family which comprises of the teachers, pupils, and parents. Our hope is simple, that while your child is with us, that he or she will develop into a mature, happy, responsible young adult who is prepared to face the future with confidence. And then is introduction. Just tell them what you are going to say. And the next is conclusion. Conclusion is tell them all you have said. Oh, that's all about my explanation about speaking as transactional discourse and performance speaking discourse or public speaking. I do apologize if I have many mistakes in my video, and I hope my video can be benefit for us. And the last I will say, don't be afraid to make mistake, because mistakes are proof that you are trying. The last I will say, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Thank you so much.